Aha, it's the Vox again, the Vox Birch Stolec. So, if you remember in the last video, we looked at this and it was a bit of a mess, to say the least. So we went off to have a chat with the customer and make a decision on what we're actually going to do with this. And the customer's decided, well, it's Lee from the shop, has decided that we're going to restore this, but we're going to remove the PC boards and hand wire it. He doesn't have a lot of money in it, so we're just going to go for it. Now, I'm going to strip this down completely. I'm going to take all the transformers off it, everything. So we're just left with the chassis. And then a friend of his is going to plate these openings here that we've got these, and he's going to drill out all the tube sockets, because I'm not doing it, because as you all know, my metal work is absolute rubbish. So I'm going to let someone do that who will make a proper job of it, because if we're going to do this amp, we need to do it right. So we're going to look at and see what boards we can put in this, whether it be turret boards or the little tag boards that they have in the Vox AC30s. The problem with those is, in the Voxes, they're really long and you can't buy them. Well, I've had a look around on the internet, you can't buy them really long. I've got them just short ones. I'll show you what they look like. So these are the things that they used on the original AC30s, but they were really long, and you had two of those in here. Of course, we've only got short ones. Here's a turret board, but I don't think these are long enough. I did a bit of a calculation, and I don't think these are going to be long enough, and I don't know whether we'd get two of these in there. I don't think we would. So it is looking like these type that we're going to be looking for to put in this amp. So as I say, I'm going to strip this down, everything's coming off it, and then we're going to try and wire this amp up to the best we can to it being absolutely original. So we need to find a schematic for this, and also someone has done a layout which I found online, which will be helpful when I'm laying out the boards, because of course Voxes are laid out a bit strange, the components on there. We need 11 valve sockets, so there is a lot of work to do to get this amplifier stripped down. So I thought we'd have a look at this and strip this down gradually as we go, and then you can see how it's going to turn out, as just with the chassis. Take the transformers off, and we've got this problem with the choke here. It's very interesting. So what they've done here is somehow the bracket's broken there, and you can see let's just hone in with the camera. So if we hone in there, you can see that bracket is broken, look. So what they've done is, this is a piece of thin aluminium, and they've riveted it either side. It's very strange. In fact, if I get the see if I can go through that with my cutters. Yes, I can quite easily, I think. I don't know. To be careful, don't want to damage this choke. Yeah. But yeah. So now when we look, you can see that's broken. So that's something we're going to have to look at as well. Because what I could maybe look around and find one of these shrouds, but I'd like to keep the original shroud because it's got the what's that say? Lemark. It's got the Lemark. If anybody knows anything about these Lemark transformers, I'd appreciate it if you left it in the comments, because I've never seen these before. But as I've said before, I've never really worked a lot on AC30s. Right, I never really played through one. I've worked on a couple in the last few years, but I've certainly never worked on one of these. Probably just as well, really. And what is that? What's that all about? That's rather a weird item. So is that something else? Let's just have a look at that. Is that something else that they trying to fasten this on with, or what? I really don't know what that's about. It's obviously not original. Look at the screw in there. You can see that screw. Let's get down there. Maybe just about. So there's a bit of a mess. So I don't know whether we can get that brazed or not welded. Take the shroud off. We'll have to have a look at that. But that's obviously it. Oh, in fact, oh, look at that. I didn't realise it's broken on both sides. I never noticed that. So, oh dear. Well, I'm blued. Yeah. Well, I have to say whoever did that was resourceful, if nothing else. Let's just get this camera back. So probably need to get some more tools now and start stripping this down. I think now, because I've loosened that off, I just assumed that was fastened at one side. Why did I assume that? Right, yeah, so we've got this choke off, and you can see it's broken on both sides of the shroud. And the other hole is this green monstrosity thing, I don't know what it is, plastic thingy, where they've actually just put that bolt through it to hold that in. So they actually are the holes for the choke. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. I mean, finding another choke's no problem. We shall have to see. So that's something we've got to look at. We don't even have the other bracket for that, even if we could fix it. So there's problems there with that, I don't know, but it's not a huge deal, is it? This amp's not going to be original anyway, so we can also find another choke. We just need to measure it and see how many Henrys it is. Very strange, Henrys. Right, we need to start stripping these parts out of this that we don't need. That'll be the boards. Everything else we'll need, apart from this green plastic thing. These I'm going to take though, because if we can find the same type of tube sockets that aren't PC mount, we can use these again. Seems silly to throw those away. No, that one doesn't want to come off. That one's already missing. I don't remember that being missing. So I don't know, I might have dropped that in, bringing it into the workshop, so I'll have to backtrack and have a look for that. So we need a box to put all these items in. We've got the knobs off already. Let's have a look what we've got here. Yes, so I have loads of these tea boxes, because I drink a lot of Red Bush tea. And I save the boxes because they're absolutely splendiferous for putting amplifier parts in. So these will all go in here, and any of the screws and bolts will all be in this tea box. So that's those. That's my phone, we don't need that. So we need to strip everything off here, because we'll be having a new fuse holder, switch, borderline. That might be all right. It's not too bad. I've seen worse on amplifiers. Right, I've just loosened the pots off, and I don't think we'll be using the old pots in this. We'll have some new ones, but we'll save all the hardware. Amazing how many amps you come in, and these, you'll have a snapped off pot, and these nuts will be missing, and they're really really useful. There we go. So we're just loosening off these sockets. So we want to get this faceplate off, so we want to clean it as well and inspect it to see. I think it's in pretty good order. There's a few scratches on it. And that is, see, now that's beginning to lift it. So it's just this fuse holder, main switch and pilot light to get at. I think we will have a new switch in it. I don't like that. Can't see that on camera, sorry. So we have got, just go in, see if we can go in a bit. Just bring it back this way. So you can see there's a bit of play on that switch. I'm always dubious about these because if they fail and short inside, just not good. So for the sake of what they cost, we think we'll just have a new switch. I'll loosen that off. We'll save that though. More for trying to save, you know, vintage parts and things, but such as switches and so on, that, you know, you've got high voltage on it, it's just not worth it. I think if you actually ask somebody who's using this amp, would you rather have the original switch that was worn out, or because it's vintage, or would you rather have a brand new one that will still look reasonably vintage? I think they'd choose the new one. I would anyway. So that's that. So cut that off there. We'll try and save some of this wire though, if possible, because it's always good for other projects. Right, fuse holder. So we need to get that out, and the pilot light, and that should then come free. So we'll need to roll it over for that. So the pilot light just screws off there. Now that's in good order, so we'll be saving that, definitely. That is in good order, and of course that'll only probably have 6.3 volts on it, so no heavy voltage on that, and it looks to be in good order. Just put that there. Let's have that out. I don't know if you can hear that, because I've got the door open. That's the geese flying over. We get that quite a lot here, especially this time of the year, in late August, September. We'll get rid of that. That's the result. Filed that away. We need those for the pilot light. Is that chassis? That's bent. I've just noticed that. Can you see that on the camera? Probably can. Yeah, there, look. So the chassis is bent there as well, so that'll have to be straightened out. I don't think I spotted that before in the last video. I don't think. Right, I'm going to have to find something. Oh, that's a new pot that's been added there. I've just spotted that. If that'll come out. Oh, look at that. Indeed it is. Well, newish. Not new enough for this project that's coming up though, but never mind. I think we'll remove this board as well. It's rather atrocious. So we won't be saving these boards. Obviously they've had it. Take these out. And of course we're just putting everything in this box, and when we finish this project, what we don't use will just go in as spares for other amps. Very handy to have all these screws. Can never have enough hardware. I think I might just save these screen wire. They're looking in pretty good nick. They'll come in for a project or two doing inputs on guitar amps. So we'll snip those off. Snip and snip. There you go. So they're always useful. Put all the wire over there. I'm getting into the swing of it now. Oh, I was just I never thought. I was thinking to myself, we'll save those sockets, and of course the junk. They're mounted onto the PCs. I can't even save the fibre washers, I don't think, which are always handy to have. They look a bit corroded. Yes. Yes, I think they are rubbish. Into the bin with those. And we've got another pot here. That looks like it. Oh dear, that's had it. Not that we're using that anyway. I don't like those things. There you go. Put that there. Right, I'm just looking at what else is holding this board in. Maybe a couple of pots at the front there. I think I digressed a bit there. I was supposed to be getting this faceplate off, wasn't I? And then I got into cutting off those wires. So you can see that fuse holder's all chipped there, so not safe to use. So now we've got that fuse holder out of there. We've now got the faceplate. You can see, well, it's not rust, I don't think. So that should clean up pretty well. I mean, there's a few scratches here or there, but other than that, that should suffice. You can probably even get these, you know, new. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, we'll put him to one side. Right, I need to find out now what's holding this board on. As whilst we're not saving it, and I could be, and I've just realised what it is. I don't need to be handling it for the sake of it. If it's going to come off easy, there we go. Why didn't I see that there? There's another screw. You blind fool. I bet you're all saying, I bet I could hear you all shouting at the screen going, there's another screw in there, that's what you can't see. There, I've seen it in the end. That's my plank moment for this project. No doubt there'll be many more. That's not really worth saving. Don't bother with that. There we go, and that's the board. So let's just have a look at the board now we've got it out. We can have a look. So I think the first thing we can do is remove these, because these, like as I've said, these are worth saving. That's one. That's two. Whoops. There. Another one there. Now there's absolutely nothing on there worth saving, really, at all. I mean, the tube sockets, you know, they look in good order, but I'm not really into putting second-hand tube sockets in amplifiers. If it needs a tube socket, even if they're board mounted, you're better off getting a new one and having done with. That's just my opinion. So that's removed that, and now we've got these stanchions here, which obviously these won't be used. I don't think they will, but we're going to pop them in the box anyway, because you never know. So we have the other board out. I think we can while we've got the screwdriver here. And you lot are all watching me to make sure that I don't miss any screws like I did on the last one. Supervising me. There we go, keep getting these out, so I keep getting my arms in the way. And there's the board up now. We need to be a bit careful here because of the wires going into the transformer, so we need to be extra careful. We don't want to damage that transformer. I can't get to those that way, so I'm going to have to turn this over. The tools are going flying there. We're going to have to turn this over and be very careful. So I'm guessing those really those real thick ones there. I mean, these ones will be okay because they've got terminals on there, and we can just, they're pretty good. But those filament ones there, they're going into the transformer, so we don't want to be pulling those. I'd really like to be getting this off, that all in one piece, but that's not going to happen. What's it say on this transformer? So that's just for the primary, that information on there, not for the secondaries. So I need to lose that wire there, that green one, and then I'm going to clip these here like so, and then right up there to leave as much length on them as we can. That looks like a center tap to me, could be wrong. And then we've got some others here, and you can see they're into the transformer, so you've got to be really careful not to pull those. There we go, and that's that board out as well. You can see yes, definitely bin fodder, that definitely. So that's gone in the bin. Now we have got these coming out the transformer. Now I'm guessing that those three there are going to be the secondary coming out. You can see we've not got much wire on those, so we've got to be and again, you've got to be really careful. So again, we're going to have to strip these down, and I always use a Stanley knife blade for these. And what I do is I work my way around them, and then you can just pull the plastic off with your fingers, and it works really well. Let's see if we've got one. So I always take one of these, always cut towards a friend, like so, and just as soon as you feel, you can tell when you've cut through and got to the actual wire inside, and then usually, sometimes they just twist off. This wire is rather stiff due to the, you know, being old, the heat, and so if we look now, I've cut around that with a knife, and I just pull it away. You can see like that. So that's, we never pull on these transformers wires ever, because if you pull one out, it's all over, and that's a very expensive mistake to make. So if you're going to be cutting these, use a Stanley knife blade, cut around them like I've just done, and then hold that, it just pulls away dead easy. There you are, tip of the week there. What do I know? So, and the next, we've got all of that off now, and I think now we just need to get these transformers off, you know. They are on with some very hefty bolts. So now this is the primary, but thankfully they've marked the primary, and we are on the red look, 245 volts. So if we just have a look at that, we'll just slide it over here so you can see it, and then hone in on it. See if we can hone in. There we go, you can see it clearer now. So yeah, 245 in red, and that's good. You don't always get these on transformers. And then you've got 225 volts, 205, and that one is 115, I think, from what I'm seeing there. Could be wrong, but that seems to be how it's done. And then this yellow wire here is the common. So that's all pretty simple. Now whether we're going to use this voltage selector on here, I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to loosen the bolts off, have a look how they're connected on the back, and then probably just snip off the wires. But what I'll do is I'll leave some of the colour on them. It just makes it easier to identify. I'll just leave a bit of the wire on so that we've got the colours. Just makes it easy to identify it, and saves time when we're wiring that up. There we go, just zoomed out. Let's see if this will tattle these. I might need a bigger one. And just put the pliers on the back of that, I think. Yes, that's gone, no problem. There we go. I'll keep that star washer because they're extremely useful. I've actually never done one of these stripped down videos before, as I can remember. I don't think I ever have. So this is a bit different. So if you're getting bored, then just move on a bit onto the video. But basically this video is all about stripping this amplifier down and what we're going to do with it. So as you can see, so there's the brown wire there. That'll be 110, because there's no, mind you, I might just, I think what I'll do is I'll do this the other way around. What were I thinking? Although they don't, let's just see what they look like first. So the thing I have with this, really, it's going to be like a brand new amp inside, and when you've got such as this, sticks out like a sore thumb, and they look a bit corroded anyway. So I think we'll have that off and we'll redo all that. So we'll cut them from this end. So I'll leave a bit of orange on there and a bit of red, a bit of yellow and brown and so on, and that'll just help us to remember where they go without having to, it just saves me having to get the meter on it and faff about, and then that's another 10 minutes on making sure you've got that right, because of course you have to be doubly sure that you get those right, because if you don't, although I always run it up on the variac anyway. Right, so we've got quite a bit of that gone now, haven't we? We've got, I'm not sure what those, that looks like the remnants of one of the pots, doesn't it? That's, I have to get that out after when we've finished. The other thing we need to take off are these, especially that one, because that, we need to get the chassis straightened out, or, well, I don't, because I'm not doing the metal work. I'm only wiring it up. I don't like metal work. I never liked it at school, and I still don't like it now. Right, we've got all the bolts out, and we've got to be very careful with this, because we've got to straighten these out, and you can see what's happened to them. They are solid, and that is probably partly because they're obviously the wire's so thick inside, but also the plastic's probably got a bit, so we've got to be really careful with these because they're extremely stiff and we don't want to damage them. And really, to get this transformer out, that's really tight, you know. Just get in and have a look. There you can see that gap looks bigger on the camera than it actually is. That's going to be a problem. You see that this plastic's gone brittle over time. How am I going to do that? Just be careful with that. Let's try and hold that. Let's straighten that out like that. And there. Now the only way I'm getting that out of there is, again, we'll be careful with this one. Sorry about this, because I'm catching the camera with my hand, with my arm rather. So let's try and straighten that out. So what I'm trying to do here is hold the wire when I'm straightening it, because I don't want to pull on it. Now unfortunately I've got a bit of a kink there, and I might be able to use that to my advantage, seeing as if I just bend that up like that and leave that kink, that may work for that one. Now unfortunately I've got to bend this one up. So I won't be really careful with that. I'm just going to hold that with the pliers and lift that like that. So the red one will probably come out. The yellow one might be a problem. In fact, will be a problem. So I'm going to have to bend that up, I'm afraid. So let's just get it on the edge there, so because the camera's right over it, and I need to get in with the thinner part of the pliers and bend it up some more. So the reason I'm using the pliers is because as I bend this up, it's so stiff, I don't want it to pull the wire out of the transformer. My days. I don't know whether to warm that up with the heat gun, you know, and see if we can make it a little bit more flexible. I think that might be a good idea, because we're going to end up breaking that off. So let's try this. Now this is just the gun I use for the heat shrink, so it's not a really powerful one. So let's just try this. That'll be enough. I don't want to go too mad. Just a bit more. Let's see if we can get that. It's a bit softer. Oh, it's hot as well. By Jove. By Jove. Look at that now. That's a real pain in the bum. Are we going to get by now? We might just. Yellow, yes, there we go. My word, that was a bit of an operation, but we couldn't risk damaging those, could we? If those get pulled out of there, this transformer's had it, so. And I think we'll definitely just leave those like that now. What a palaver! So that's that, and we can have a closer look now. Turn it over. Let's take the shroud off. Have a look inside. It all looks to be in good order. There we go. That's the output transformer, which I've just taken out. And again, although that came out easy, that one, these again, plastic's gone a bit stiff on those, so that one's not too bad. That one's getting a bit stiff, just with age. Right, so you see the chassis is quite flimsy now. The transformers are what made this quite stable, fastening onto both halves of the chassis. And you can see there's just some small screws, some small nut and bolts there, and this chassis will split apart. And I think the best thing to do is have it apart as well. It'll be much easier to work on. Trying to screw and drill and plate that in its present state won't be good, will it? So I'm going to, yeah, there we go, and that's just come apart now already. So I'm going to strip everything off these boards, every grommet, every single part, because one of the reasons is, if we look at this chassis, you can see it's bowed there, it's bent here and there. It needs the whole chassis needs straightening out. That bit of pot's just decided to vacate the premises. Glad to see the back of these stanchions. They're a pain. Right, let's just have a look what we've got now. Move that big screwdriver. Use that for the transformers. Don't need that. So we've got the classic Vox speaker connector on there. So I think we'll save that. You can see we're getting we've got quite a stash of parts in the T-box. I'll get rid of these grommets. We'll have some new ones in. I'm sure we don't need to save grommets. And there we go. Now I think that's everything off that board. It is indeed. Apart from these, which we need to get off, but we'll worry about those. Those can probably stay on. So now let's have a look at the damage on this board. So if we look, we can see on this board, on this chassis. Sorry. So you can see that that is really bent. Let's just turn it that way. And just, yeah, you can see there. And you can also see that it's quite badly bent there as well. So that will need straightening out. But that is that half of the chassis done. This is going to be a rather large project. So, right, let's get back to the green plastic. I think that's drab olive, that colour. They do make some Les Pauls in that colour, don't they? And some SGs. And look, we've got a nice wing nut just to... So that, I think that could go down as a quick choke change there. Should it blow, you just undo the wing nut and cut the wires and remove your choke. And then put a new one on. So we need to drill those out, and of course they are sharp as well. I keep catching my hand on those. And that's that one with the, and I've just caught my hand on it again. So we need to drill those rivets out, and we've got these screws to get out, and I'm not going to go through any more of this now because we've pretty much got an idea of what's going on. So let's just have a summary up of what we've saved. We've saved most of the hardware we've got in there. Obviously the transformers. The choke, we're not sure whether we can do anything on that. We're 50-50 on it. The chassis is in a bit of a state. This one's pretty nice and straight, but the other half is a bit bent. Probably will use the same faceplate again. Where's that again? We'll just have another last look. So there's the faceplate. I think we'll be using him again. He'll clean up pretty nice. Depends how much a new one would be for that. And that would be up to Lee. The PC board. Here we go. There's absolutely nothing on that worth saving, and that is heading for the bin. We've saved some screen cable because these are handy just for inputs, as long as when we bear it back it's not all corroded inside, but we'll save those. Always handy. We'll clean them up and they can be used again. I do like to do a bit of recycling when I can. So that's it really. There just doesn't look much left of it now, does there? There's a video started, there's a full amplifier there. That's all that's left. My word. But there we go. So now we know what we're going to do with this, and we'll have updates on this. You know, what I'll do is when we've got the chassis put together, we'll just do a quick video and have a look at it. And then we'll start building this amp back up, and then we'll decide what turret boards we're going to put in it. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching. A bit of a strange video this one, wasn't it? But you all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.